tonight is lesson 1 of our 48-foot Roadrunner trailer build. It's sprayer trailer build. It's going to be scratch built out of brass. So you guys will get to learn everything that I know about all soldering and all this other stuff. And we're going to get this well underway. But before we can do that, since I don't know what skill level anyone here is at and what your access to parts and things are, I'm going to just do a quick orientation and tell you what you're going to need. Give you some I'm going to give you some measurements too. So if you have a pen and paper, you want to write those down. And then I'll show you what soldering iron I'm using, solder, and flux. Okay. Obviously, you're going to need a measuring device of some sort and a cutting tool. I don't care, Dremel, handsaw, whatever you got. Anything that'll cut brass is what you're going to need for tools. I always like to keep around just a big old file. That way, if you need to shorten up a piece of brass, you can do it real easy. Or, and we'll get into this when we get into soldering, if you need to clean the tip of your soldering iron, you can just clean that tip real quick. And maybe you'll be watching what you're doing when you do it. And so, those are your basic tools to get going. We'll need a few more things down the road, but this will get you in the door. Okay. Next, we're going to build this out of brass, so you're going to need some brass, obviously. You're going to need 332 by 3/16 rectangular tubing, okay? You can buy this basically anywhere online. You can get it on Amazon and eBay and HobbyLink. HobbyLink, don't go to the Japan site, get the American site. HobbyLink.com. They have buckets of this. K&S Metals has this stuff. You're going to need 2 pieces of this, 2 12-inch sticks of this, and that will get you all the rectangular tubing you're going to need for the build. Then you're going to need some 332 by 332 square brass. Again, wherever you buy your rec tube, you're going to buy your brass or your square tube as well. And excuse me, if you have a hardware store in your town, I have a True Value hardware store. I don't know where those are in the world here in the States, but they do have this brass on hand at True Value. And I paid $5 a piece for 2 12-inch sticks of the rectangular tubing just earlier this evening. So that's what you're going to need for brass. And I don't recall. I bought a whole bunch of this, so I haven't bought it in a long time. I want to say it comes in a 2-pack for like $3 or $4. So you're going to definitely need 2, maybe you might need 4 pieces of this, and because we're going to be cutting a lot. Yeah. All right. We'll get into that later. Okay. So you're going to need brass, and then I really like, for soldering, I really like this fine solder, okay? I actually have 2 sizes of this, and I bought 2 sizes because there were 2 sizes. I'm like, yeah, I'll just get 1 of each. I like them both, but this is .022 diameter lead-free solder, and I bought this at what used to be Radio Shack, okay? It used to be Radio Shack. I think at least the one here is called the Sound Shop now. But any place, electronics store, should have this kind of solder. I know it's backwards, and I'll get a shot of it where you can read it. But it's .022-inch diameter lead-free solder. Okay, it's really tiny, but it melts quick. It gets in the grooves quick, and I don't over-apply it, which means less filing when I get done soldering and I go back to clean up the joints and make them look pretty. Just less work. Okay. I kind of, a lot of guys, or not a lot, but some guys live by liquid solder, or liquid flux, I'm sorry. I bought this at True Value here in town, just a hardware store. This is just liquid solder flux. It's nothing, just whatever shelf brand they had is what I bought. I'll use this and paste interchangeably. I don't know, I just like paste. I'm just a paste guy. I don't know why, just what I fancy. But I just buy regular paste flux. Again, bought this at True Value, same place I bought my soldering iron. But if you go to the sound shop or electronics store, wherever you can buy the solder, you'll be able to buy flux and soldering to iron and everything else. No problem. You'll be fine. As for a soldering iron, this is a 40 watt Weller soldering iron. Okay, just an electric jobber, nothing fancy there. I think I paid, heck, I don't even, this is my second one. I burned the other one up. It finally quit, it died. But it's just a 40 watt soldering iron, electric soldering iron, nothing fancy. Just what I have. Okay. So you're going to need solder. You'll need a couple of DCP axles. I don't really favor the size of these tires for this build, frankly. I think on the real Roadrunners, they use a smaller diameter tire, and it makes the whole trailer set lower to the ground, so it looks cooler in my opinion. But these are easy to get. I mean, you know, $2, $3, $4 an axle, and you got them. You're done. So you're going to need at least 2 axles. So anyway, you're going to need big tank. I think on the Roadrunner website, 3,800 gallon tank or 3,500 gallon tank is an option. So if you want to go out to the Roadrunner website and look for the 4000 series sprayer trailer, which is what we're making here, the 4000 series, you can see what exact size of tank if you want to make it exactly like what you would see going up and down the road. That's up to you. I forget where I bought this tank. I forget where I get this tank. Frankly, I would recommend a 3D printed tank if you can get one, just because they're clean, neat, and gorgeous. Beautiful. But I think 3,500 gallon is what you're going to want for the top tank. You can buy mixing cones from Jeff Moore on Farm Toys. His stuff is carried by Boston Implement and a whole bunch of other dealers, along with the motor and all this. And I just put some miscellaneous tanks out there. You're going to need some hose. And all that hose in here is just wire I salvaged out of landline. So there's nothing fancy there. It's just generic phone landline. I found it, you know, I lived in a house and I stripped out all the landline because, not all of it, I just took a big chunk of it out and then I stripped it and used it for, I use it for projects. Okay. This wood decking, I want to say, I bought this years ago and I still have some left, but it's self-adhesive on the back side. It's kind of cool. This wood decking here, I love it. It's really, really cool. I forget where the heck I bought this. I want to say I bought it from DJ Harrison when he was selling quite a bit of stuff, or maybe it was Mini Chrome Shop. If somebody here knows where to buy this wood flooring looking stuff, please share a link, because I have plumb forgot where I bought this. I've had it so long and I just don't use it very often. You can buy HO scale tread plate. And take a look at this stuff. This is kind of wicked. I love it. I've used this on some builds, you know, but look at that. That looks like tread plate, does it not? But this is HO scale tread plate. You can buy 2 sheets of this in a package anywhere you buy styrene. I think I bought this from Hobby Link long ago. But you can buy this, and instead of a wood floor, you can make it look like you have a tread plate floor. And that would be a neat variation. So there's a couple of ideas on how you can actually finish your trailer. Okay. I did build this so it will sit level on a DCP trailer, or semi, I'm sorry. You'll notice my kingpin is pretty far back on the truck. Let me grab one here. I wanted my kingpin, I wanted the tank kind of over the center axles a little more. I saw one, actually the one I replicated was built like this, and that's where I got the measurement for it. So when we get there, you can do what you want, but I wanted this the way it looks, okay? And that's why the kingpin is where it is. As far as tools or resources you'll need, get you a 9-penny finish nail right here, and that'll be your kingpin. It will fit perfectly in DCP 5th wheel plates. I mean, that fits like a freaking glove. That is awesome. Okay? So what we're going to build here first, we're going to make 2 rectangles of brass. Okay? So we have this rectangle here. We're going to make this rectangle, and then we're going to make this rectangle for the two different steps on our trailer. All right? So, yeah. Anyway, so that'll be our first step, is to make these steps. Wow, that was a lot. And what those are going to measure is the following, okay? You're going to need 4 pieces of 2 1/4 inch. You're going to need 2 1/4 inch, 4 pieces of 2 1/4 inch square tubing, okay? And then you're going to need 2 pieces of 1 1/4 inch, okay? Or excuse me, 1.5 inch. I can't read, for crying out loud. So 2 1/4 1.5 are going to be your rectangles. You'll need 4 of each, and that will begin the process of steps, making our steps for the trailer. One thing I didn't really share with you, but I'll do it real quick as an afterthought. Your soldering area, this will be important. I'm going to be doing my soldering right over here on my drill press right here. Why? Because 1, my drill press deck is flat, and 2, it's metal, so I'm going to use these magnets to hold my brass in place. That's going to be a really big deal for you guys when you get building. If you don't have something like this, that's fine. You don't need it. It'll just be helpful if you do. Like any piece of sheet metal that's perfectly flat, go get you a couple of magnets, a couple of, 88 cents I think, or whatever. And that just helps hold your brass together and help keep it square. Okay. So I've already cut out all my pieces of brass so far. Well, a lot of them, okay? And not everything yet, because I'm going to make one variation on this trailer that I didn't, on the one I'm making, that I didn't make on this one. Okay, you see all my stringers and cross members here? See that big gap in there? I'm going to make these closer together. How are we going to space these so they're even and perfect? Okay, go to your nuts and bolts bin and go find you, I'm using 832 machine screws, just hex nuts. Okay, this is all I'm using for spacers right here. 1, they're all the same width, so you can use these, and down your trailer all of your stringers are going to be the same distance apart. So these you can buy for a couple of dollars. You can buy a package of those. I've been doing that for years. Or even the square ones, the old style square ones, work even better than the hex nuts actually, because a larger flat surface they don't want to roll. But I've been keeping these around for years. When I did a lot of brass stuff, this is how I would space everything out. Was just using nuts and bolts like this. Pieces of brass, piece of aluminum, stuff like that. Yeah, these little, here they are right here. Yeah, these little square nuts like this, those work really slick, because again, they're all the same width, and then they stand up a little better than these other hex nuts. One thing on soldering, okay, notice these pieces of brass right, well, okay, there you can see it. See how they're not bright and shiny compared to this new piece? This is a new piece of brass, this rec tube. This square tube has been sitting around in my shop in a tube for a long time, and it's a little bit, well, it just doesn't, it's not pretty and clean. It's, the dirt and corrosion from just being out here is on it. What I'm finding, or what I found by doing hundreds of combine trailers, it seems, is if it's not bright and shiny, the solder doesn't want to adhere real well. So just go ahead and take a piece of sandpaper or steel cloth and shine it up, and then it should solder just fine. After you solder a little bit, the tip of your soldering iron is going to get, crusty crap all over it, and that won't let the heat go through to your brass. So you'll want to keep that file on hand just so you can clean the tip of your soldering iron. Just keep it handy, because it's not a matter of if it's going to. Okay, so there's our rectangle. This is the first one we're making. We're making 2 of these, all right? Now, the next step before we finish this project, or before we finish this one, is we're going to check it for square, all right? There we go. Now you can watch me. You can keep me honest here. All right. So I'm right there at 72 or so, and then all we're going to do, this is just what you do in a real machine shop, right, guys? I mean, those of you that do this for a living, or some of you that are handy in the shop, we're just checking this for square because we want this thing to be nice, right? There we go. So we're not perfectly square, but we're really darn close for using magnets on a freaking drill press bench. Okay? So there we go. That one is done for now. What we'll do next week, we're going to make another one of these, okay? And if you want to work ahead, I'll just give you a couple tips. If you're going to work ahead, yeah, exact same way. Yeah, we're just going to make another one the exact same way. If you're going to work ahead, you can take two of these. These are 2 pieces of rec tube, and these are, what did I say, 1.5 inches long? Let's just double check. Yes, 1.5 inches long. You're going to take 2 of these, 1.5 inches long. You're going to solder them together. So you're going to make one long rectangle, okay? And that is what I did right here. See? There's 2 long rectangles, 1, 2, soldered together, and then the first rectangle goes on top of those so you can get your clearance to fit your DCP truck. Okay? That's how you're going to handle that. And then our second rectangle here we'll make is soldered up here. Yeah, so we'll worry about that next week. So you guys have homework for those of you building along, or if you haven't bought your stuff, go to the hardware store, get you some flux, liquid or paste, whatever you want to use. I just like paste. I'm a paste guy. Don't know why. I am. Get you some paste flux or whatever. 332 by 3/16 rec tube, 332 by 332 square tube, and you're going to need 2 sticks of the rec tube and probably at least 3 sticks of the square tubing. Okay. You can fudge the rest of it, and then that'll get you started anyways. That'll give you something to do this week while you're waiting for next week.